Before we get into the
high-minded.
semen and the coming off, should we invite people back to the episode?
Oh, okay.
Welcome back to the
pre-dive.
episode. Sorry. You know what I mean. Oh, a sneeze is coming.
Coming off.
I'm about to come off.
Come off.
You see, you've traced it away now.
I'm sorry, I hate that. I have to look at lights to make me do it. I'm so sweating already.
Oh, big news here in the studio.
Do tell.
There's a cake directly in front of us.
Oh, yes.
Purchased by our gorgeous Sarah. And the cake is a classic super value. You know, the sprinkles on the side.
Love it.
Swirly whirlies on the top and bottom. Then on the very top is the Creep Dive logo. A real one.
It's really
Stunning.
bringing a tear
And
to my
it
eye.
says, congratulations on 1,000 patrons and almost, or what does it say there?
And 100 unofficial episodes.
Jesus, guys.
100. I mean, unofficial episodes. I want to make that official because they're official to us.
We've made 100
We've
episodes.
made
of
100
Creep Dive.
episodes.
101.
Only 1,000 of you have access to all 100.
And 1 million of you.
Well, actually,
of the
966 today because there's always that
Wait, no,
drop off
don't
on
fucking-
payday.
don't
downloads. You fuckers. Everyone's like, it's happening to me too. Yeah, you're like, oh fuck, I'm reminded that I'm logged into this stupid thing. And people are like, oh, gotta get off that. You shouldn't though, because
I have to get off one of mine though. You know I do. Like,
Oh, you
one of
do.
mine is a drain. It's my children are actually suffering for it because I've got like this monthly outlay of about a tenner to a patron.
10 quid
that I want
to
to be.
one.
I want to be a part of it, but I also
€10
I keep-
to one.
Oh, because I know what happened to you, yeah.
yeah.
You made a big deal about getting onto it,
And then
and now you can't come off it.
I can't. I'm not coming. I need to come off. I need to.
You see,
came
that's
off.
why
I
if you
keep being in
intend,
the
do you know what
fruit
it is?
section of the supermarket, assessing the price of fresh berries for my children, and then thinking of that patron payment and being like, no
Just do it,
fresh
Sophie.
berries for the spawn
If we've
this
learned
week.
anything from this 34 people drop off, it's that we don't get alerted or noted when people drop off. There is a way to go in and find it, but like, who'd be bothered?
Jennifer
Me.
ODWYER.
I'm fucking bothered. I'm up there looking. I'm checking it.
To see who's dropped off.
I'm like, fuck you, Claire. Fuck you, David.
Sinead, how
Sinead,
could you?
how dare you? I'm there. You
Is
know,
th- is
you
this
think
where we
you're-
are?
You think you're doing a see you gone by ghosting. You're not. I know your name.
She knows potentially where you live if
Oh,
you
I see
supplied
what
that.
we do.
Let's not stay in the negative.
Actually, in fact,
Cassie,
let's cut
there's-
this.
There's quite
Sorry,
a
we're
number
actually probably on 1,500 patrons if we include the former ones.
They have their own Reddit thread about how good it is to be free
Oh
of
my
those
God.
scuzzy bitches.
3 pages. Oh,
Okay,
jeez.
stop. We're all good. And what do you know? What I'm sad for them.
Me too.
Okay, they don't get all the in jokes. Only about 4 people do.
I have a whopper creep for you, and I lost
Oh, exciting!
almost. No, it's not. The whole week, I've been.
Like you've just been
submerged.
marinating in it, basting yourself.
It was an everyday. I'd say, it was an unbelievable. Basically, what happened was I lifted the scab of something.
Oh, delicious.
And then I was like, there is a lot of stuff in here, and I can't
Mouth-watering.
look away.
Oh my God, divine!
I couldn't look away. And I'd also sort of surprised then to not have sort of heard of it. That's, you know.
That literally just reminded me to check in with the little scab that I was working on the back of my neck.
Oh, yes.
It's gone though.
Oh.
Sad.
An actual scab.
Oh, here's how I got involved in my story, though. Now I'm thinking of how did I get to the scab?
Oh yeah, I love the journey.
Wait for this. So, chipped my front tooth.
Okay, can
Unknown
we see?
thing.
Let's see.
Only, well, I'll wait
How?
for this.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how. Looked in the mirror, was like, shit, that's quite kind of a substantial looking chip. I'm gonna have to go back to the fucking dentist. Then I was like, maybe I could do an old DIY job here. Then I was thinking, like, oh, what's the dentist going to do? Only file down the tooth a bit. I could do that myself. So then I was like, then I Googled, can you file down your own teeth?
Own teeth filing implement.
And you can.
Excellent.
So I got a nail file and I just filed it down. And that
A
was
nail
a
file
success.
did it.
It did.
I believe
Wow.
that, yeah.
Because I was
Yeah, don't
picturing.
notice anything is perfect.
Do you know the way
It's
when
like
you're
cutting your fringe,
sanding,
though, Sophie.
You'd often wrap the sandpaper around a block of wood.
You would, yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
I was
You
picturing
would have
something
gone
more heavy
sandpaper.
duty.
Yeah, no. You'd need a nail file for
It's
this.
giving me the heebie-jeebies.
Do you know
that
the
feeling
problem?
in your nerves
Yeah,
when,
yeah.
like, something's in your
Chalkboard.
hand? Oh.
Now, the thing about it is, it's sort of somewhat addictive. Because, like you're cutting a
I'll just
fringe.
even them up a little bit.
Exactly. So here was I going hell for leather, like just 2 seconds more.
That's
just
how you'll end up with the peg teeth, Jen.
Well, speaking of peg, and this is how my single search for can you file your own teeth led me to my creep.
Oh, I love this method of creep sourcing
When it
because I
gets-
do it a lot, as you know, where I'll just be like doing
Random Google of a thing.
decapitate, and you let Google like decapitate horse, decapitate donkey, decapitate self, and that's how I got to that awesome self-decapitation story that I don't even think I ever bothered telling on the creep jive. I think we just were chatting.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, let's go. What's
you-
your clickbait headline?
Ooh,
Or was that it? Your longest one
It
yet?
sort of was.
84 words.
Yeah.
It's like a Fiona Apple album title. What do you have?
I have a story of a woman who made up her entire life on the internet. Just plain and simple, classic creep.
Classic.
Involves a bit of YouTube, involves a momager, involves some
Yay.
questionable behaviour, maybe some child trafficking. We'll see.
Sophie, what do you have for us this week?
I have a combined... Yeah, I have a kind of a catfish. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I've got a catfish. Also
Okay, good.
classic.
So this is my creep dive. His name was Pazuzu.
Excellent. Now, Pazuzu was the demon in The Exorcist.
And that is what gave him the idea. And slap for a high five from you.
for my general knowledge.
So Pazuzu is a Mesopotamian kind of god who was head of the demons, specifically of wind. It's
Like-
just not that frightening as a concept. Well, I'm sure like a tornado could be kind of demonic, but it just
Angry wind.
and not a kind of a gastro demon.
Like a shit demon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
The shit spirit.
So here now I will tell you the story. We are in the early 90s where the scene is. So our Pazuzu...
I love creeps
his
of the
name
early 90s.
is
Because
Pazuzu
the production values are on the fucking floor.
God.
Everyone's rank in the early 90s.
Well,
Remember
this-
we were all really ugly together. Sorry.
Yeah.
Peg teeth was only just coming into the world. Peg teeth spawned by the early 90s.
Saddened her. It's just me.
I can't tell if
But
she really
thank
can't
God
take
they're-
the peg teeth thing.
Me neither.
But
That's
you
what
know
makes
what-
it
you know what,
so
it's
always on the
irresistible.
edge
It's
of
just-
like, are we
it-
really hurting her?
It hurts. It does hurt a little bit. I'm delighted that I'm in a position now where I have had multiple rounds of veneers to fix the peg teeth. And thankfully, I had to go and find those photographs for you to send them to you to show
Do you
you.
not see them, sir?
So
We'll put
they
them on
don't
the
exist
Patreon.
on the internet.
If you pay for it, you can have it.
Oh my God, if we get 12, no, that's too low. I'm lowballing myself.
Okay. So anyway, back to my story.
If we get 1,000 new patrons, I will post the peg teeth pictures.
I can tell you now, it's worth it.
And Sophie and Jen will post their nudes.
Not worth it. So I got sucked down into... So I was watching a video on how to file your teeth down.
Yeah.
And I was then served something I might be interested in.
Of course.
And this
the
was
kind of
a 7... I don't know how many fucking parts it was. It was probably about 6 parts. It was a 6-part documentary from Vice. And I was like,
for real.
Already in.
I'm totally in.
About people who file their own teeth?
Well, about this particular guy, Pazuzu. So the documentary was really good, but way too long. Hence my whole fucking week disappearing. You know, when like the episodes
you
were an
had to
hour
keep
long.
ticking in and
It was
yeah,
just
yeah.
unbelievably endless, and there was a pretty good story in there, but they were milking it.
yeah.
So they had a great team that they interviewed. So they had the kind of narrator of the whole story was this guy who was he was a journalist for the local paper. Really smart, incredibly articulate, kind of grungy dad man. Knew everything about this case, so he sort of he told us the whole story. Bit of background on Pazuzu. You probably need to know what he looks like. He looks fucking dreadful. He's tattooed poorly across his whole face. He's the ultimate peg. He's filed his teeth down with the Dremel bit on a...
It's so creepy
into,
looking, isn't it? The
A
snake
drill
teeth.
bit.
He did it, a DIY. Sophie, dentistry is just fucking easy.
Don't put that out there.
Anyway, so he created like, you know, this is his demonic... okay, bit of background on himself. Real name,
Oh my
John
God.
Alexander.
I mean, he's gone for the no brows, which, I mean, you don't even virtually need any of the teeth filing or sort of the tattooing. I would say is kind of sketchy, more like doodles.
It looks a little bit just like a bit of dirt rather than a committed. He looks like exactly like...
I would say that like you've oversold him in terms of the horrifying. Unless I'm looking at a
You
pretty
described him as a
chill
grungy
picture.
dad.
No, that was
This
the
is-
narrator of the
that's
documentary.
the
Sorry.
journalist.
This is the bad guy. Born John Alexander
He has
in California.
Satan tattooed on his wrist.
He does,
very
yeah.
large. Like not wrist, his forearm.
He's just a real cliche man of the 90s. But what he ended up creating
Average man of the night.
was a sort of cult group of people that followed him in a kind of Manson-esque kind of vibe.
Deadly.
He did this by smearing his own shit all over the walls of his house, letting everyone take a shit. It was a lot of shit-focused chat in this whole documentary. His gaff just was a disaster zone, like a teenage boy, except way more scatologically focused. So all the kind of local kids in the area gather there. Anyway, I'm going on a bit. Back to the start. Kind of a bit of an outcast in school. They used to call him shithead because he had a smell of shit about him.
So this
Oh,
guy's
no.
into shit. Like he's into, isn't it scat?
Scatological yes, I don't know.
Scatophilia.
Do you know what I did think? I should have, and I thought maybe he had that thing where there's a kind of, it's a disorder. It's to do with the type of ketosis your body can't break down, and you emit
a
smell.
Yeah.
And often I think for people it comes off as like a fish, but it can smell like different things. But certainly it can smell like feces. So then I thought maybe he had this. Now I didn't find anything other than
Validate that.
No, but it does sort of make sense because he was embracing. He was just. Anyway,
Smelled shitty.
he had a bad time in schools. His folks split up. Him and his mother were together then. They seemed to have kind of fucking pretty intense relationship. His mother then got remarried. He was very anti the new dad figure. And the new dad figure then left as well. So that left himself and his mother in the house. And things sort of degenerated for this kid. So
At what point did he get the horrific dreads?
later, and I think that was related to the kind of stand against washing initially. But then he was like, all right, well, maybe this is sort of my look. So anyway, he was definitely thought mental.
Obviously, there is a way to have good dreads.
Yes.
This is not the way.
No.
Just to clarify.
He was diagnosed as kind of a young guy as being both a schizophrenic and an agoraphobic. He was pretty paranoid. He didn't like to leave the house. His mum had been seeking help for him up to a point. It looks like they ran out of money.
Oh, God.
And the help stopped. And then friends started to arrive. And then Pazuzu was born. So what's fucking mad about the documentary is, I'm just going to spoil it all for you because this is the creep dive that I can't. So watch it. It's definitely worth the watch, but like you can fire through the first 20 minutes of every episode because it's just a recap on the last episode. So his mother's name is Cynthia, right? Anyway, so he was an outcast. He was at home. He started mates started dropping around. And he started getting really into all the drugs and the drink. And
Do not recommend.
do not recommend. And like the hard partying days on end, the house sort of started to degenerate. Really nice looking kind of house in a pretty quiet neighbourhood with a big garden around.
Garden. There's
You know.
loads of potential there.
But the
One
smell
story over
of
basement level.
feces off this place was eye-watering apparently.
I just may as well tell you, I'm in the image search of Pazuzu Al Garard right now.
Sure. There's a
and
whole video
I
of a
feel
walkthrough of the
so
house.
sick. The pictures of the house.
Disaster.
Are far worse than anything else. It's just
disastrous.
I'm looking at a clip that's the headline is debris animal carcasses.
Well, this is
inside
the thing
home.
with Pazuzu. So he was doing all the drinking and the mad shit, but he was also kind of inventing this sort of persona that involved animal sacrifice, drinking the blood of these sacrificed animals. Just fucking the carcass anywhere. There was cats hanging from a tree outside his gaff and all.
God.
So he and
Jesus,
his
we've gone
followers
in really deep straight away.
started. It was like super Satan worship. It kind of it feels like it was a bit of a laugh at the start, but then because of his paranoid tendencies and probably his mental health, he really was believing all this shit. And then sort of as a result, so were the people around him. So he was telling these mad stories, and he was also off his face, and so was everyone else. So in the when they were interviewing kind of who would have been the teens in the area, they were like, "Oh, we all heard about the stories, but like we didn't sort of believe them."
I feel like
We're
what
going to
it's
go
saying
along with
to
it for
me
the lol.
is
Yeah,
everyone here in this house now, it's like day 2 of a rollover, and you're at a kind of a peak sesh moment where
There's
you're
enlightenment.
talking really intensely to this person who looks like this guy, but like, everything he's saying is just making so much sense. And then cut to like 3 or 4 hours later, you've staggered out into the daylight.
Yeah.
And you're like, TG, I'm not back there anymore. I'll go and have an Eddie Rockets and a sleep.
yeah.
And these people just never got to that second stage.
No.
They've been like in the depths of
They're
this.
on just a rollover.
rollover.
That's what it calls.
Months
Yes,
on
just a
end.
rollover.
No one
probably.
is doing the bins.
No, but you know what they
There
were
isn't a
doing?
sink. There isn't a dish
They
being
were
washed.
also like doing an orgy in the middle of it. Do you know that way? And they're like filming
Doing an orgy.
They were sort of
Gross.
filming like each other rolling around in each other's shite and riding and shitting, and there's animal blood and
shit,
rotting
I
and
could really
carcass.
All of
Yeah.
those things would smell so bad.
Well-
unless they put so many narcotics up their nose, it's lost the function.
Probably, but this kind of I think, and it feels like we were sort of being told that sort of the reason. So terrible things happened in this house.
Okay.
There was rumours going around the neighbourhood. Rumours. Pazuzu was just telling everyone that he'd killed people and he'd buried them in his back garden. So everyone was like, all right,
Do you know
Is
what
that
part of the
the
problem
most-
is, though? Pazuzu just sounds kind of whimsical.
Yeah, it does.
It's kind of cute. I feel
It's
like
very similar
you
to
would
Zuzu
have-
from The Lion King.
Yeah, or you'd have you'd get a little Shih Tzu, and you'd be like, "That's Pazuzu, the Shih Tzu." You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like it's a little cute dog.
endearing and has kind of nice.
But is it also not just like the best kind of like double, triple bluff ever that if you keep telling
Yeah.
people that like, oh, look, I've murdered loads of people and put them in my
Yeah.
back garden, that you'd be like, oh, would
Ultimate
that guy
hide in plain sight.
ever shut the fuck up? Like,
Yeah.
Well, yes, I agree. But the problem is that a couple of Pazuzu's wives helped him bury the bodies and cut them up. So there were other people other than and guess, like you were saying, they sort of all then were like, it was all part of the performance of this fucking mad, horrendous den of hell. So anyway,
delightful.
We need to put like a gag warning on this episode.
Yeah, I'm feeling uneasy.
Feeling
So,
really sick. Like.
I'm still at the shit and the animal blood
I know.
together.
I
and
need
the
to,
rolling in it.
And the rolling around, the doing an orgy.
At least tell me they had plastic sheets on the
Like,
ground.
why is doing an orgy so much worse than having an orgy?
I don't know.
doing it.
You're just getting
that
it.
orgy.
You're just getting it done.
Getting her done. I keep
Coming
thinking the
off.
cake might purge this, but it is also
It smells
brown.
really good and chocolatey though. Like
So-
it's right in front of me and it smells like that's my breath.
In
yeah.
the story, everybody in the area had heard the stories about the death and the bodies. Mm-hmm. It feels like
Was anyone
everybody
missing?
knew about them.
Yeah.
Not
Where
only
are
did
we?
people know, we're in
America,
California.
presumably.
We're in Salem, a place weirdly. I think it's called Salem.
Massachusetts?
No, I can't. Okay, I can't. I'll get
Anyway,
back to you on
that's
the
cool.
exact location.
Sort of small town.
He's in Clemens, North Carolina.
Okay.
Right, a town, it's a hugely Christian town with traditional values, right? So imagine like the church is the center of the town. People are obsessed with God. The worst thing in the world is the devil, and they believe that the devil exists. And Pazuzu has decided that's who he is. And
the devil has descended.
everybody's keeping, well, a lot of people are taking a wide berth, including the fucking police. So,
you would then.
that's
You'd hate being sent over to Pazuzu's gaff.
Sophie,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what was happening. So they were getting told. So people were making reports for years.
And
So
they were like, "Nigs."
5 years had passed.
Nigs.
Yeah, exactly. So there had been reports that the police had gotten, you know, we've heard this guy, there's bodies in this guy's back garden. You know, you're a police person. You're supposed to check. If there's more than one person report, and people who are sort of like a person you would believe coming into the police station, you'd say, okay, we should go check it out. So they didn't do it, or they went up to the house and they were like, the fucking smell of this place. And they were like, I'm
Unholy.
not going in there.
Oh,
and then that's sort
God.
of where all the investigation ends. From the police's perspective,
Oh my God,
up
what
to
a
a point.
cop-out.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Well, I suppose there wasn't yet any missing persons.
Do you know that there wasn't yet any missing persons, except there were for instance, this whole documentary kind of it mostly just takes one of we don't know anything about the other victim. So I think his name is Tom, and Josh were the two guys whose bodies were found. Josh was the guy they focused on. He was a really nice, a young guy he was just a father. Do you know what happened to Josh? In a typical American way, he was trying to get things going for his wife and his kids. They got into trouble financially. They got overstretched on mortgage. They couldn't pay their things. They wanted this horse farm to rehabilitate horses. He was like, look, I'm desperate for the cash. I'm going to go. And he fucked up, right? He bought some magic mushrooms online and used his own home address.
What do we say?
We've all been there.
We don't buy things on the internet
Do you
that
know
go
what?
inside your body.
Well,
That's our rule.
I think tell
Except
that
for
to
those star bars that
some
people
people
keep
back
sending.
in 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Josh then ended
mad,
up with a criminal
okay.
record, which meant in America he couldn't get a fucking job.
Couldn't get fucking anything.
They couldn't get anything. So he was fucking anyway.
Oh no, this is so sad.
So Josh
Like mushrooms,
ended up
kind of
somehow
some of the friendliest of
yes,
drugs.
exactly, Sophie. Anyway, so Josh somehow ended up crossing paths with this fucking Pazuzu guy. We're a little bit, we don't know why. Bottom line here is Pazuzu shot Josh in the back of the head and then shot him another 8 times.
Okay, that just jumped from we don't know how they met to he got shot in the head.
Oh my god.
But that's all we know.
Right.
Josh was a new dad. Like Josh had this son at home, and him and his ex were like just trying to make it work. So she is a big player in the documentary, and she talks about so 5 years had passed since Josh disappeared completely. From her perspective, he was just a missing person.
He was just a deadbeat dad.
She
who'd fucked off.
Yes, she had heard rumours. Somebody had been to her house to say, I think Josh's body is buried in the garden of this fucking Pazuzu guy.
Oh my
So she had
God.
gotten nowhere with the police.
Fucking police.
The fucking assholes. Not only that, they were destitute because she had this son. They would have got life insurance payments for Josh's death had he had a death
Proven
certificate.
to be
Oh, but they
dead,
can't
yeah.
find his body for a death certificate.
No, and now she's fucking hopping around the place trying to make ends meet on her own now with the kid.
And all these
fucking
horses.
disaster. They ditched the horses,
have the
thank
horses
God.
now?
No, that's just some dead weight. They definitely didn't need a bunch of fucking like hobbling horses behind them. Just way too much stress in their lives. So anyway, so
Too much stress.
Where am I?
Self care.
there was a few crimes leading up to the kills, right? Pazuzu had put his mother in a chokehold at one point.
Relatable.
In 2010. Yeah, I agree with that. No, and then in August of
Literally the
2011,
first relatable thing Pazuzu has done since '92.
Pazuzu pled guilty to misdemeanor assault charges against a former girlfriend. He was put on probation. So Pazuzu was in and out, and a month later, one of his wives, inverted commas, Amber, was charged with slapping and attempted to choke Pazuzu, and Amber was given a 12 months probation. Only 2 months into her probation, she was charged with assault and battery for striking someone else. So it's just a fucking mess.
So she's the mother, like.
No, she's one of the
apologies,
wives.
sorry.
But the mother was a victim.
One of the wives.
Yes.
Now, were they doing any kind of, like, were they kind of having a big day, weddings?
There was nothing. There was no big day. So anyway, on October 10, Pazuzu finally was charged with accessory after the fact of involuntary manslaughter of Josh. Finally, the police...
Involuntary manslaughter. And did they know that he had died from a gunshot wound, 9 gunshot wounds? And
I
they're calling
think-
it involuntary manslaughter.
I think there was some... But because Pazuzu
we're
had
in
had a
America.
Sorry, I'm like
history...
holding you
We're
personally
in
responsible for
America.
that.
We are in America, and there was also a
Did you just take out
history of
safety scissors?
mental
Safety scissors.
illness, obviously, from Pazuzu. So there had been, like, kind of a definite
Just so
medical
cute.
record.
From a craft project to offset the horror.
Yeah, I'm just going to focus on that instead of the
So sorry, Legend.
the murder
But
victims
before that,
dripping in
police-
shit, blood,
so
and
police
gunshot wounds.
Finally, we're like, okay, before that, I don't know what led up to them actually taking it seriously enough to look into Pazuzu's fucking garden, but they finally did, and that was 2014.
Was his tomato plants flourishing?
It was an
Do you ever
absolute...
remember that from The Last Supper? Did you ever see The Last Supper?
Yes, yes.
It's a fucking great movie.
Yes.
Do you ever see it, Cass? You'd love it.
What year?
Stupid.
That's funny.
Stupid bitch over there. Yeah, you were probably about 6.
Guys, I'm trying
I'll
to.
look
You
it up
keep
and
you
watch
keep
it
you keep
later.
distracting me.
Cameron Diaz.
I have things
vintage
to
Cameron.
say. 2014, the police finally get into the garden. They all wear
2014?
GoPros. So the whole thing is filmed. They filmed
If we'd
themselves.
been listening, we would have noticed that
I am
decades were
listening.
passing.
It's just horrific.
They wear a GoPro. You can watch the whole thing on
my
YouTube as they
God.
walk through the gaff, and they're like, "What is this place?" And they find kind of skeletal remains of 2 human people in the back garden.
Oh my
In the
god!
back
So how long
garden.
was Pazuzu at it?
Years. The
Years.
dead people had been there like 5 years.
Oh my
20
God.
And he's
2010,
just trying to me
2011.
like, they're over there. I killed them. Smells like shit. Reeks of blood. Where are all your animals? We sacrificed them. And everyone's like,
The movie, it stopped recording.
okay, just press it again.
There we go.
So yeah, so that's so they find these skeletal remains. The police are like, oh, okay, fine, let's get the ball rolling on arresting Pazuzu forever and these wives that helped
Oh
him
my
bury the body. So Pazuzu was found then. So he was put in jail for like a few months before he was then found dead in his cell. So what he'd done with his razor sharp teeth was bit into the artery in
I'd
his
forgotten
arm.
that's how we got in there.
In his arm, and he'd then bled out.
Oh my God. So he vampired himself.
He did.
Oh my god,
He did.
Jen.
Amber, one of the people who helped do the fucking murdery
Do the orgies and the
and
murder.
the stuff. She took a plea deal of 2nd degree murder, armed robbery, and accessory to the fact, with a sentence of 30 years. She admitted her role in one of the killings, testifying she had shot him in the head twice
Oh my God.
while he sat on the couch inside the home. It was all a fucking shit show. It was determined that Pazuzu used the same rifle months before to shoot Josh. From the decomposition evidence found inside his home, it's believed they let the body lay inside the residence for over 2 weeks before burying it.
Oh, lads.
Stink
Bit of
factory.
Christ.
Taking pride in one's abode.
Yeah, an absolute shit show.
I'd
of a
love to
story.
see a crossover with like an episode of How Clean
Hoarders.
Is Your House on this though. You know, where they go around with the little swabs.
Oh, yeah, the blue
Like
light.
there's maggots.
I
actually
definitely
everywhere.
feel like a crossover of changing rooms with Lawrence Llewellyn Bowen
Yeah, they need
would be amazing.
probably
because
wouldn't
I
change a
feel like-
thing.
Well, I was going to say, I think he would be like sympathetic to the house's original aesthetic,
Yes.
while also incorporating some lovely touches.
Florals.
I was going to say, no, Lawrence. Velvet wallpaper.
Yeah,
An
yeah, yeah.
accent
fact,
wall.
This is actually very Lawrence.
This
very
is very
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Mine
Very
has kind
Lawrence
of got some
Llewellyn Bowen.
Lawrence sleeves going. I've brought up some of the walkthrough video, and like the first, so what they have, which admittedly is tricky for homeowners, is the front door opens directly into the living room. That's where you might want to incorporate a bit of zoning. Laura
Maybe
DeBarra
the
is great
back-
on this.
The back of the couch.
Yes, just to demarcate the hallway portion of the living room to the lounge area. They have this living room is graffitied and stuck with shite.
It's collage,
Floors.
Sophie.
Yeah, it's collage. Actually, I had some collage work of a similar nature in my bedroom in the mid-90s.
I know.
You remember it?
We all did.
We all
had
did.
this
It was like pictures torn from like Kerrang and 17 and what was the one that was really filthy that we loved? More magazine, yeah.
Position of the fortnight.
There is like swastikas graffitied on the ceiling. There is no like aesthetic choices being made. It is just fucking it all up everywhere.
Lads, I forgot about the worst bit.
Everywhere. Oh, what's the worst bit?
Sorry, I
The
knew I
kitchen
was
is
missing
just
something.
fucking formica hell. It's disgusting. There's lino.
This whole time, Sophie, guess who was living in the house with them and heading off to work every day? Only Pazuzu's mum.
Oh my God, sorry.
So
I actually had that in my head.
Turns out Pazuzu's mum was there in the gaff, knew that the murders had happened. She somehow avoided any jail time, but she's interviewed by the kind of widow of Josh in the fucking documentary.
Oh my God.
So it's one of the last, it must be the last episode. It's brilliant. She goes to Pazuzu's mum's house. They sit together on the couch. They have this like cup
is it
of
still
tea.
the original
Same
house?
house.
No.
No.
They have a cup of tea, and Pazuzu's mother has photographs of Pazuzu as a small boy.
Yeah, he's quite cute as a little as a
Small boy
teen.
pictures are more terrifying than grown up Pazuzu.
Yeah,
just for the innocence, like.
And she's kind of remembering the good times. She's at no point does she sort of
Say, I could have tried to
I'm
put a stop
sorry.
to this.
She's definitely now disassociated, but she's a very well dressed lady. She seems, it's pretty strange. So she'd been living in this crack den, and your one was like, so you were just heading off to work every day, and she was like, yes, I know. I was just happy he had friends.
What? But he was killing them.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it's not great. It's not great, but you know, Pazuzu's dead now. So
What would you do if your children killed other people?
You know, you'd see it from their point of view.
Would you? Do you think you'd jump to their defense no matter what?
No, not no matter what.
No.
It depends on why they've killed the person.
Oh,
Okay.
there's actually a room back here now that's, I would say, a little more attractive.
That's probably where Pazuzu's mum hung out.
Perhaps. It's painted navy and there is some spray painting of kind of ghost faces on the wall, but there's a little chandelier.
Yeah, they actually, it's funny when you go on the walkthrough.
Do you know what the house
Pazuzu's
really
bedroom
looks like?
is sort of kind of somewhat livable. So his
kitchen-
personal bedroom.
I mean, my own kitchen, I would say, rivals this kitchen. Oh, wait, I've just seen like the burnt out plug sockets. My electrics are in order.
He kept all
It
his
looks
guns
like
in the
house
dishwasher.
From Interesting.
He had a
I suppose kind of
dishwasher.
slots.
Yeah.
Do you know what
Makes
it is
sense.
about this story? It's the one that
It's
is
really
induced
getting to me.
the closest of, like, I can
Revulsion.
feel vomit.
Yeah.
Why?
In me. I don't know. It's so horrendous looking.
Yeah, I think it's because you just know as well that with that kind of like early to mid 90s aesthetic that like, everyone's just got like the way overplucked eyebrows, very bad
Yeah,
dye
the
job.
very. I mean, and
There's
it's very
nobody's
blatant.
contouring. It's just
It's the Satan on the arm. I was only telling Sophie
Bad
the other day. I
tattoos.
remembered suddenly this great episode of Ricki Lake. Let me see if I can get it.
oh my God, yes,
from
this story.
A woman who brought her daughter on and was like, my daughter is a Satanist. She's obviously a lesbian because she'd gotten an undercut.
Why are those?
Because she'd literally shaved a bit out of the head. And at the time I remember being like, oh my God, that's mad, that's metal, that's crazy, what's going on? And the whole audience were
What's
like,
going on?
Why would that woman shave her head? She's obviously a Satanist, lesbian Satanist.
Why are those two things connected?
Because
Those
why
three
else would
things:
you
undercut,
shave?
Satanism, and lesbianism.
Why else would
Well,
you
maybe
shave
undercut and
your
lesbianism, I'll
head?
accept.
The international sign of a
And she
lesbian.
was initially, she was like, oh, I
just
literally,
very
she's like,
thick
my hair
hair.
is very thick.
It's very thick.
It was like, I was advised, it was like, I'm not a Satanist. I can't remember. She was
I
like,
mean,
but
we
she was
know
really
that
like,
pain.
it was a real like, oh, mom, it's fine. I've just shaved it. And there
It's
she
just
was.
about the way the hair sits. Like
You have an undercut.
yes.
I never once
I
considered you to
really
be a
need
Satanist.
I really need to trim it. It's actually, look at it. It's fully a little haircut of its own back there.
It is.
Yeah.
It's that. I mean, that's classic Ricki Lake.
Classic.
We could
I mean,
actually
it's
do a
real
whole-
early Ricki Lake because I see like there's other.
We're in the 90s, surely.
Oh, definitely in the 90s because I know that Ricki Lake herself had a shaved head.
Was Ricki Lake
Mad
standing
bitch.
for it?
No, I think was that now.
No, she's a hair loss. Oh,
Hair-
Ricki Lake has lost her hair. A hair loss battle.
Oh, poor Ricky.
What is this now? It's only 2020.
Oh my God. At one
that's-
point in this walkthrough, they are just walking over a floor of trash.
One of the guys interviewed, who was Nate, who was a heroin addict, there was a lot of footage of just him shooting up in the documentary. And you know, it's just so depraved. You're just like, oh, lads, please.
It's just so
Please
fucking
no.
sad.
And of course, him and his girlfriend, then she gets pregnant, and you're just like, oh,
No.
guys.
Oh no,
guys.
it's so sad.
It's sad. It is. So Nate talked about like being there just on the couch or whatever doing heroin, and he described it as like you could just, you know, pop a squat and take a shit in the corner. Pazuzu wouldn't mind at all. And you were
So
like, well,
convenient.
did you mind? You then presumably would be remaining in the room with your own shit. I mean,
We are in a room here that has trash up to the bottom of the windowsills. So we're talking about at least thigh height, I'd say, in just debris and trash and presumably animal carcasses underneath all that.
disaster. Anyway,
But
that's my story.
This is the fallout of a capitalist society.
Well, that's it.
I'm just going to say.
Well, it is because
It fucking is because all of these people are just being left behind
Well,
by
that's
the
it.
prosperity.
ultimately a lot of
know.
slipping through the cracks happened here.
Yeah.
Josh's
This is
saddest story.
untreated mental illness,
Yeah.
untreated addiction, like an apathetic attitude
Totally.
to this
Oh,
these
completely.
people.
And a total avoidance of dealing with the problem.
Shall we riot?
Yes,
Yes.
we shall.
Yeah.
It's not a one-day action, as Adrienne Rich said. Rich or Rich?
Okay, which one of you
I don't know who is
hobnob-
going to pull us out of this hole.
hobnobs are pulling us out of this hole?
Sophie, I feel like mine is an Instagram catfisher. Builds this kind of world of lies. A couple of people have sent it to us. It's grand. Do you know? Like, I'm intrigued to hear a catfishing story from Sophie.
Oh, okay. Well,
Unless
then,
yours is about Lily Jean.
do you want to take the hive?
I'll
Because
take the
I've got
hive.
some disgusting juice for you for the hive.
Oh, which
Okay.
will balance the hive then.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to just like reverse back out of raw video, inside Pazuzu Algerard Clemens' home.
Oh, I was on that
Just
too.
get away from this.
500,000 views. Devo comments off. Why do they do it?
It's so
Let
mean,
us have
isn't
the
it?
comments.
Oh my god, I actually am going to vomit thinking about
Lads,
that guy.
just as a kind of hilarious aside, because I was sucked into the 90s and I'm on Juvenalia, and guess what my topic is? So I'll be on a podcast later.
Oh, you're doing it again.
Guess what?
Anyone who hasn't heard Jen's first go on Juvenalia, go back and watch it. It's all about fucking MSN Messenger.
But wait for
class.
this.
Okay, what are you doing?
Special subject, Eurotrash.
Oh my
I know,
god,
I know.
very,
With
very
you.
good.
I know, but there's so much. I'll come back and do more of it for
mean-
the creep because it's absolutely brilliant.
It's just so much
It's
about my
just
worldview.
gorgeous.
Was informed by Eurotrash.
But did you know, and I somehow missed this, around the Brexit thing, Eurotrash came back for a Brexit special episode.
I didn't know that.
did know that.
They have pulled from everywhere. You can't find Eurotrash on any of the, the 4 on demand.
I know.
They've taken down all the YouTube, some of the production company. Anyway,
As Brian Wilson said, they just weren't made for these times.
Sophie, it was.
Not these times. No
Now is
fucking way.
Sophie, yes, this is.
No, it
come
would
on.
implode with self-cancellation. Like
Absolutely.
nothing would work.
Everything works about it because of the fun and the titillation.
Sorry, do you know what that just reminded me of? My creep of the week. Which is obviously not like a
How
big
do we
thinker
forget
of a
that?
creep of the week. It's a really obvious one. But when you said Eurotrash, and I in my head was like, this is what formed my worldview. My worldview has been rocked this week. So you guys have heard that Ghislaine Maxwell
Has been
Yeah,
arrested.
arrested. Sorry, we've loads of.
Yeah, so the FBI now are demanding to re-interview Prince Andrew,
Get out
Yes.
of here.
right? And like,
Did he not somehow get himself immunity from the whole thing?
but they're not taking immunity for an answer, I think.
Yeah.
So, I am rocked to my core because if they bring charges against Prince Andrew, it's going to undermine a very strong belief system that I have held tightly to since the at least early 2000s.
Where are you going?
Where am I going? Do you know about the kind of world order and how there is like, you know, an upper echelon of rich and powerful that are so rich and powerful we don't know their names.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not talking about the giant lizard people, but I feel like the lizard people
deep
is kind of a
state.
metaphor. Yes.
It's the deep state.
Yeah.
The people who are controlling politics, who are so
They are controlling
insanely
government.
rich. That have
They are
influence.
orchestrating natural disasters. In
All
my
right.
head, like I've just stuck firmly to
It's
this.
essentially like it's
The Bilderberg group, but actually not them because we don't even know the name of this.
no.
All right.
I believe. And now I'm like, well, like, for fuck's sake, if they take in Prince Andrew and if he actually sees consequences, A, fan fucking tastic. B, I need to remake my entire concept of what this world is because I just would have assumed that he would be protected till the end of the earth.
This is interesting.
So
yeah.
unless it goes even bigger than the monarch.
But when
Yeah, but it does. It
Maybe
does.
they are just pawns.
The deep state.
And we're just the little nits
It's-
on the heads
you can't.
of the bigger
You can't
pawns.
let yourself go down this rabbit hole because it is like world altering. I wrote it. I touched on the surface of it for a piece for Rogue.
An amazing piece. It's such a
about
good piece. We need to put in
how
the show notes.
The there's this whole conspiracy that comes from the leaked emails from Hillary Clinton and her emails to John Podesta.
Yes.
And in those emails, they're talking about a pizza parlor
Yeah.
called
Yes.
Comet Pizza.
Pizzagate.
Pizzagate.
Pizzagate, right? But that is like the tip of the iceberg with it and how many people it impacts. It is all connected to Jeffrey Epstein. So then when everything came back and everything was, you know, factual with Jeffrey Epstein, it's like, well, it obviously doesn't stop there. Like, it must go much further than that. But then it goes to the stage where, you know, QAnon, the
Yes.
informer from the White House that people believe in, and there's like this whole plethora of people who believe that Donald Trump is the only thing separating this world from complete and utter catastrophe. The whole idea is that there's this pedophilic ring that runs from Washington to Hollywood, and it's all the powerful people involved in it.
But what
and
are the
people
chances
uncover
of
it
all of
and
the
they try
powerful
it.
people being pedophiles? It feels
But
like a
then,
weird
like,
starting to
but look,
fucking
it's
feel like they
look
are.
At, you know, Jeffrey Epstein. Like, you would think if he's a pervert and a pedophile, what are the chances that he's just going to be like going on his day and meet others? But like, he does, you know, and he was working with other people, and he was obviously
Okay, so
facilitating.
when Ghislaine
Yeah.
takes her own life,
Do you
Are
think
you
she'll
doing air
turn on all the
quotes, or-
power?
but I'm presuming that's what's going
Jeffrey
to happen
Epstein
to her.
didn't kill himself. He didn't kill himself.
Yeah, no, he absolutely
he
didn't.
did not kill himself.
So she's going
But
down
she's
too.
going to go down the same way.
I mean, how the hell else does it end
100%.
for her?
But that's it. They're just having these people knocked off. There are some very fucking powerful people who are involved in this who are dodgy as fuck. But like, of course they're dodgy as fuck.
Oh, guys.
Okay.
I
I mean, I don't even know if we had completed some in-depth research and embarked on talking about that, would we have any more definitive answers?
You can't. I've
It's just
gone
so
deep on
complex.
it, and it's so complicated. And like, looked at the people who are like big drivers of QAnon, because it's mind blowing, because it works not just because of the theories, but because of the way the theories are being disseminated to people, and like the information that they're receiving on them, and then getting into this echo chamber where they're just seeing that information. But like, it is terrifying, because if you go into it and you start watching them, they're all presented like fact and news or whatever. Like, my brother sent me that video and genuinely believed the Tom Hanks pedophilia video to be true. And I had to go through with him about why he was...
What Tom Hanks
Sorry, this is the
pedophilia
piece
video?
Cassie wrote, which is like, why
Oh,
does
yeah.
5 million people on the internet believe Tom Hanks is
So yeah,
a
this
pedophile?
one of the biggest creators of this is a guy called Buddha.
Catchy.
All that's in my head is Moist Buddha, but that's a meme page. But his YouTube name is something Buddha. He's really big, and he creates all these like videos that explain these conspiracy theories, but like from the point where he's like, I'm telling the real truth. And he has a particularly good level of production. So they're produced like cinematic documentaries, right?
Okay.
And so when you watch it, you have that sense of authority from the video because the production is so good. It's like, 40 minutes long, looks well researched. It goes, but then it just goes into this mad time
Conspiracy.
lapse
Oh.
of like him going through the internet and how he's pulling up all the different pieces of information and how there's basically the Tom Hanks being a paedophile comes from the fact that Tom Hanks takes these pictures of lost items and posts them to his Instagram, like lost gloves, socks, whatever. And then in one picture, there's a phrase SRC USA. So he goes down a rabbit hole of Googling this, connects it then to this other conspiracy that is a term of BH kids, which is how pedophiles access child pornography on the internet, apparently. He managed then to find on one of the Tor browsers a connection from some of the same pictures that were tagged with BH
Now,
kids.
Tor is how you connect to the dark web, isn't it?
The deep web.
Deep web. Isn't it called the dark web?
Dark web, deep web. So like there's a difference. So the deep web is like the unindexed internet, and then or the dark web, and then is like there's the unindexed stuff that like anyone can kind of access on a surface level, but then there's the deeper stuff, which is like 90% of the actual, or like they say that the internet we access is only 10% of the actual internet. But like I went on tour the other day for a story. I went way too deep in that story. I was trying to see if I could buy data. I could, but I also could buy cocaine, child pornography within 30 minutes of not having had access to it before, to being on it, to having an account, to having Bitcoin, to being able to purchase
Whatever
guns,
you wanted.
hitman, drugs, Peruvian cocaine, whatever you wanted. And like
Good
going from, it was so incredibly easy to access.
So back to that video thing.
So back to the video of Tom Hanks. So he connected that phrase to the phrase BH kids, in that he was finding some pictures of children in swimwear that were like from like kids modeling swimming clothes from clothing stores or whatever. They were tagged with both BH kids and SRC. He found all these links to kind of pictures where they're tagged with both, and so then deemed Tom Hanks to be a paedophile. Also, there was an actor who he died by suicide, but definitely was creating all these videos, definitely seemed to be unwell, and was spouting on about Tom Hanks being a paedophile with no proof, just kept saying Tom Hanks is a paedophile. And then another woman tweeted that she was sold to Tom Hanks as a child.
This is
King
but
hell.
none of this is substantiated.
None of it's
None of it.
substantiated.
So
So
that
is-
guy who's making the video is basically like with that finding a connection between SRC or whatever. That is,
Mouthy
everything looks like a nail if you've got a hammer.
Sure.
He
It's
is
just confirmation bias.
Selecting
Yeah.
exactly.
And is he doing that as an example of how easy it is to connect?
No,
things,
no,
or
no. He's
putting
doing it
forward
as doing
proof?
as the video is called Pedogate 2020. It's Tom Hanks as a paedophile.
I don't
This
like
is the
to
proof.
even-
This is I think that it's important to look at it and understand why people are landing at this as a belief, because there's
Do
so
you
much
believe-
more.
did you-
No,
No.
I don't believe it, but I understand why people have come to it. So
and make the connection.
Yeah,
So
but
I feel like
immediately-
Pizzagate kind of was that.
yeah, because when you watch one video on YouTube and you come out of it, the next time you go into the recommend algorithm on YouTube is so powerful that it's designed to recommend content to you that you don't know you're interested in yet.
Yes.
Yeah, and to reinforce some like tiny little scraplet of belief you have.
Yeah.
It's like you go on the internet, and the original kind of like intention of the internet was to educate like vast swathes of people. But instead, because of algorithms and the way they use our data, instead it actually is just taking your potentially narrow-minded, ignorant beliefs that you already hold and just reinforcing them, because you don't
Yeah.
experience the internet of other people. You only experience the internet of yourself.
That's it. So everyone's internet universe is totally individual and personalized, which when you're trying to buy shoes or trying to buy fabric and you want to get it cheaper, works really, really well, because they look at what you're looking at and they target
Suggest
something
things
else
for
or
you to
whatever.
buy.
But like what has happened and what is particularly dangerous and still really hasn't been addressed is my history special topic, Cambridge Analytica, when those profiles were created. So they created psychological profiles on swing voters based on their Facebook history and their data and personality quizzes, right? But not just personality quizzes that people did, the personality quizzes that their friends and the profiles that their friends and family had, because the personality quiz gave the developers access to pull all your data and pull all the data of your friends, right? But if you've been on Facebook for 10 years and you've been liking Avril Lavigne, and then I like whatever, and then I like this, whatever, they ran it through these kind of like psychological assessments where they were able to say, well, this person's preferences change like this over time. They're susceptible to this. They're kind of slightly right wing leaning, but they might engage with this kind of thing, and really like created these really complex profiles on people that then they and then they created content to target those people with specific messaging. So that's how, Cambridge Analytica were deemed to be involved in Brexit and in the Trump election, right? So then after that, Facebook then created a kind of system where they were like, look, we're going to prioritize the content from your friends and family and established publishers. We're not going to make it easy for these kind of like
and then they flag things that like appear to be fake news.
Yeah, and they very quickly shut down things that are clickbaity and aren't deemed to be like news, right? So again, that was kind of good, but in preferencing content from your friends and family, content that you engage with, essentially, again, it just creates that echo chamber. If you're in a community of people like either the serial killer cult communities that we saw last week, or conspiracy theory cults, or someone who believes in QAnon, you just get served that time after time after time, and you're just in
and
this
the
world where you don't
frequency
even
that something like that is suggested to you, it does sway your belief system.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
But
like I do believe that some of that free jewelry on Instagram could change my life.
Yeah.
And at the very beginning, I was like, free jewelry, fuck off, you scammy bastards. Now I'm like,
What gets in on you?
it's actually taken hold.
Well, they put you on subscription and they just keep taking
And then they
your
sell
money.
your fucking data and you enter the loop again.
It's mad.
The loop of misery. It's funny, I was only just this morning, just at 6 a.m, feeding my baby, reading that Tech Utopians apologize for the internet article from New York Magazine. Do you remember that? It was in like year before last, and it was really interesting that we're just talking about this, about how basically they,
created something they can't control.
yeah, just
And that's why I think-
genuinely are horrified.
Yeah, because it's been hacked.
And now
it's
so
been
many of the original creators are forming the lobby groups that are lobbying for tech companies to take responsibility for the addictive nature of their products and everything.
Yeah.
Like, which is pretty much the most damning thing.
Well, you design anything to be addictive. I think you have to take responsibility for it, and that's what people did. And like whether they meant to or not, but
But a lot of them really did. Like a lot of them have confessed to drawing on psychology of
totally.
gambling and things like that to like help make the apps say or their products addictive.
But yeah, like so many of the tech companies have more
successful. So
yeah,
So what
they'll
I'm
have
saying
more
is, like, it's
psychologists
not
employed than they have
unintentional.
developers.
Yes,
you know?
but like that's it exactly. It wasn't unintentional remotely. It was
Yeah, but I
very
mean, I
much
think
intentional.
you'd naturally, when you're designing a web page, like, and obviously we
wanna
all
make it
we
as-
all work with them with Rogue as well. Like you look at it and you're like, what is going to entice people to read this? What is going to keep them reading it? What can I, and you do
And
think
what
like that.
data
You
can we
didn't-
mine as they do?
but like you think like that in a way that you wouldn't have in traditional media. You're like, I want to get the story. Whereas now it's so competitive. You know, in order to exist, to like in any way finance yourself, it is about keeping people on the page.
Absolutely, our attention is the only commodity left in this world,
Yeah,
virtually. But it's still like traditional news media was still behind it to try and sell to people your story or whatever. But yeah, it's
mad.
It's mad.
Anyway, that was
just your creep. What time
I'm
is
sorry,
it?
that's the.
We're an hour and 3 minutes.
Yeah, because
Alright.
we need time for it. So thank you.
I didn't
You've
even
done
intend
loads
to
of
that.
research.
That's just always on the top of my head, and if someone
That's
opens
just
it
for a
up,
casual topic.
Well, it's the Ghislaine.
Yeah.
What's her face has kicked it off. So let's wait and see what happens to her.
yeah.
Fascinating. Thanks, Cass. If you come, it looks like we have a juicy hive for you
If
next.
you have come this far.
So why not become a patron?
Now, consider this, listeners of the Creep Dive who are not patrons. Even if you just paid £4 right now this month,
one time.
you would have about, I'd say, what would we up to about 20 episodes on there across the lives?
22.
Yeah, there is like 22
So many.
episodes of live shows that
There's
had
some
lots of
nudes.
interaction and fun.
There's a nude.
There's a
There
nude.
is a nude. There's a picture of a famous person. God damn it!
We
You
had
could just
cut the
email
nude.
me and I'll send it to you.
Oh, I couldn't even remember which nude. I was like, is it Trini's husband? Anyway, I mean, look, it's actually great value, even if you just joined. Throw us €4
Sure,
for a
keep-
month and then cut us
keep
loose.
us going. We want to keep
And you know
making
how
the
satisfying
creep
it
drive.
is unsubscribing to people too. So you'd actually get both pleasures.
Get that little kick. Also, before we go, we have a happy birthday.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yay!
Yay! It's Katie Givens, best friend to Harry.
Oh, happy birthday, Katie. And also a
Harry
person
and
in her
all of
own
us.
right.
Okay.
Which
happy
Harry?
birthday.
OG, other Harry?
OG Harry.
We've seen her actually, I think, on the Zooms.
She never interacts. Very shy, apparently.
Was she not
Will
a
be
blonde
mortified.
lady sitting beside Harry?
I think she's got red hair.
Harry cheating on
Uh-oh.
cheating. Anyway, happy birthday to
Happy
you.
birthday, Katie. Thank you so much. We love the happy birthdays, especially
No,
because
not
Jen
all of us.
hates,
Hates
them.
them so
It's
much.
so
Updates
annoying.
on a toast to toast.
Oh,
A lot of support out
fuck.
there
Even
for a
more
toast
annoying.
to toast, and it
Oh,
is
Jesus.
appreciated. Guys, if you would like to direct your encouraging messages about a toast to toast very directly to
Don't
Cassie
you dare.
Lorraine on
Don't you
Instagram.
dare.
She really loves hearing about how excited you all are for a toast to toast.
Okay.
And don't forget to
see
like,
you next- oh, yeah.
subscribe, and hit what's that one
Like.
you're mouthing?
Notification.
The notification bell
On what though?
on the YouTube.
Oh fucking yes, that'll be up now. But it's so self-conscious, frightening.
Oh, yeah. It's very confronting. Isn't it? Absolutely. I hate it.
Anyway, something will be up there.
YouTube will probably delete this because we talked about the QAnon conspiracy theory and how it's not true.
Dun, dun, dun.
Or it might be true. That's the thing. It might be true. Tom Hanks might be a paedophile. I don't know.
I feel like that is dangerous territory.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
do.
saying anything. I'm reporting about a story. I didn't say I have any insight to Tom Hanks being a paedophile. I'm just explaining how people arrived at that conclusion.
Every time you say it, I go, oh,
Why are
Yeah.
you the one getting
I
upset?
don't
This
know.
is you.
I feel like Tom Hanks
Because
is
he's just
powerful.
lovely.
He's in the deep state. No, that's libelous. All right, bye.